Here are 5 free agents I don't want to see come to the New York Mets. Well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watu-K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. So the first dominoes in Major League Baseball free agency have started to fall. We've seen Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn sign with the St. Louis Cardinals to boost that pitching staff. We saw Aaron Nola re-sign with the Philadelphia Phillies. So most of the Kenta Maeda going to the Detroit Tigers for 2 years. So we've seen sort of the lower tier of starting pitching start to sign, but we haven't seen any of the major dominoes fall yet. But traditionally, that starts right after Thanksgiving. Last year, the first major signing was Jose Abreu. He signed the Monday after Thanksgiving. So I would expect to see some big signings start to happen this final week of November going into December. So there's a lot of different free agents out there. This is not necessarily considered the strongest free agent class in recent times, but there are some very desirable players I would like to see the Mets go for. But on this video, I want to highlight 5 players I do not want to see them go after in free agency. I'll give you my reasons why. Number 1 is Matt Chapman, third baseman, 31 years old, most recently of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, the thing with Chapman, he's a brilliant defensive third baseman, very, very strong. He's got good plate discipline as well. Here's the problem. He's not very good against pitches that are up in the zone. And the problem is, this is one reason his average is so low. He tends to pop the ball up a lot. He's very, very streaky. And at 30 years old, he's probably going to be looking for about a 4-year contract for sure in the 9 figures. And you know what? Even though he was one of the best defensive third basemen last year and in the last couple of years, his defense hasn't quite been the same, and I just don't think his bat is good enough. Okay? And with third base, I'm not quite willing to give up on Brett Baty just yet. I'm willing to give him this year. And if they sign Chapman, that all but kills Baty's prospects with the Mets. Plus, remember, the Mets got quite a few prospects who can play the infield. They might want to move one of those guys over to third base. Maybe you put a Ronnie Mauricio at third base. But if you sign Chapman, you're getting, in my mind, just an okay but a limited player who's going to be, making a big salary and limiting the opportunity for those prospects. So for me, it's a no to Matt Chapman. Another position player I'm not looking at here is Justin Turner, the ex-Met, 39 years old at this point, just a right-handed DH. Turner turned down for this upcoming season a $13.4 million player option. That seemed like pretty good market value. So I guess he's looking to choose his next landing spot. At this point, he's really a designated hitter who can play first base if you need to break the glass, to put it that way. And, he's a platoon player, but you're really signing him to be more of a clubhouse presence at this point. Now, maybe that's something the Mets could use. There have been rumors about that, spread by people like Tommy Pham about the work ethic of the position players. Believe it, don't believe it. Justin Turner could certainly help that vibe. But at this point, I don't want a lot of one-dimensional players on the Mets, guys who just hit or just field. I want some all-around talent, and I don't know if you can really reserve a roster spot for Justin Turner. He's a good contact hitter. And he's a good guy, but other than that, I don't see what he really brings. So at 39 years old, I'm just not feeling this. Now I'm going to get into a couple of pitchers, in particular 2 starting pitchers. One is Blake Snell. Now, 31 years old, and yes, the reigning NL Cy Young winner. I am not a fan of him coming to the Mets because his control leaves a lot to be desired. Less than 60% of his pitches this season were strikes, and his walk rate was one of the 20 highest posted by a starting pitcher in the expansion era. Okay, he does not have good control. And the other thing, he really relies on his deception, to fool batters, and were great this year, had an awesome year, God bless him. But he is very chase dependent. He is relying on hitters to make mistakes, This fewer than 1/3 of his secondary pitches ended up in the strike zone. So he's not a strike thrower. And also, durability. You got to worry about that. This was only the second time in Snell's career this season where he started 30 or more games and pitched over 140 innings. I'm not talking 200, just 140. So to me, you can't count on Snell to be consistent year in and year out. You figure at 31 years old, he's going to be looking for about a 5-year contract. I mean, if Aaron Nola got 7 years, why shouldn't Blake Snell want at least 5, in my mind? I'm not confident with making that kind of commitment. Another starting pitcher I would avoid, and this one even stronger than Blake Snell, is Lucas Giolito, the former Washington Nationals prospect, now with the Chicago White Sox. Then he was traded he has been traded a time or two. But here's the thing with Giolito. He has been a very touted prospect for seemingly years, a #1 overall pick coming out of high school many years ago, and it took him a little while to really find his groove. Now, had a great 3-year run from 2019 to 2021. He pitched 427 innings, had a 3.47 ERA. Now he's 29 years old, so he's a little bit younger. You gotta like that. But he's coming off 2 mediocre seasons in my mind. Combined over the last 2 years, he's pitched 346 innings. His ERA has been close to 5. Okay, I remember him pitching against some of the better teams, like against the Braves, and they absolutely lit him up. Maybe some team out there thinks that they could fix Giolito with a little tweak or two, but at 29 years old, I think it's very risky. He'll eat some innings, but he's going to give you mediocre at best stats in my mind. So I'm not a big fan of Lucas Giolito. I think there are several starting pitchers out there who would be better. Of course, check out my video as far as the free agents I do want the Mets to sign, and I'll talk about some of those pitchers. And I'll also bring up a reliever with my number 5. It's Craig Kimbrell, 36 years old. We know what he is. He does this thing with the arm and, the vampire, and then he throws those, high 90 fastballs up in the strike zone for swings and misses. But you can't count on his control. He really did struggle in the bullpen this past year for the Phillies. I think he gets maybe a 1-year deal, but no, I'm not trusting Craig Kimbrell in my bullpen whatsoever, even though the Mets desperately need help there. All right, those are 5 players I don't want to see the Mets sign. Also, I'll be doing a video for 10 free agents I do want to see the Mets sign, so be sure to check that video out. And of course, reminder, we go live every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Check that video out. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate everybody's support, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.